Springfield's race is over. There will be a new mayor. City Treasurer Misty Buscher has pulled it off. Right now, she's in the lead by about 3%. That lead may dwindle a little bit as vote by mail ballots come in, but the incumbent, Jim Langfelder, has conceded. The race is over. There's going to be a new mayor. I've got with me Michael Butler via Zoom from down south in Illinois. Here to talk about the race. Michael's our central Illinois and southern Illinois political expert. Michael, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
All right, buddy. So what happened here? How did Buscher pull this race off?
I think the big part was on early voting and vote by mail. Langfelder did not have the performance that he needed to have going into election day. He was up by about 1,300 votes. Early this morning at 6 a.m. when polls opened, and then Misty was able to have the turnout she needed on election day to overcome that and then some. Putting her with that 3% lead, like you had mentioned.
Interesting. Well, it's why we always teach our political people, and when I go speak at college and high school classes about politics, we say the race isn't over at 7:01. We got to give it some time. There were people on Twitter who were crowing that Langfelder had pulled this race off, including a pollster who put us on blast saying we were wrong. And then as the results came in over the next hour, the results completely changed. Is that how you saw it as well?
Yeah, like early on, there was a lot of speculation that Langfelder Langfelder was going to be able to pull this off. But as those votes started coming in, and we got probably when we got to about 70 out of 102 precincts reporting, that's when we really started to see the race shift decisively in Misty's favor, and that's the result that we got.
Yeah, I mean, in our poll, listen, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, but our poll that race was spot on from 3 or 4 weeks ago, so we'll take it. All right, Michael, tell me this. How did Buscher pull this off? Because joking aside, we've said it on some of our videos before, Langfelder is a very good campaigner. We even saw it here. I mean, he had all the forces against him, and yet he still almost pulled it off. I mean, how did Buscher pull this one off?
I think one major factor was with Misty being the incumbent treasurer and Langfelder being the incumbent mayor. They both kind of had an incumbency factor where voters were familiar with both of the candidates. They had voted for them before on citywide races. So there was less people that were kind of up for grabs because most voters had an opinion of both candidates going into this. And I also think that Misty was able to really build some strong coalitions that we hadn't really seen before. She had strong support from the Sangamon County Republicans, which always goes a long way in Sangamon County. But then she was also able to lock in a lot of those union endorsements, over more than 15 cumulatively. And the biggest part, I think, was that she was able to get police and fire, which this is the first time in Springfield history that those two unions have endorsed the same candidate.
Something else that we were talking about last week about this race was when we look at the early vote by mail numbers. We don't have the data on the demographics of election day, and we probably won't for several months. It typically takes a while to get that. But we do for early vote and vote by mail as of last week. And what we saw was that it skewed about 7% more female, with Misty and several other female candidates running citywide. Do you think that had any sort of an impact on the race as well?
Yeah, I think that absolutely had an impact, and we kind of saw that bear itself out in the treasurer's race as well. So, comparing those two races, that was definitely a factor. And I think Republicans in Springfield did a better job of getting their vote by mail ballots in, which is a trend that we need to see across the state if we want to start winning some races.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you look at that vote by mail data, we knew Langfelder would do well with older Republicans, lifers, we like to call them. And so Langfelder clearly did well with those vote by mail ballots that did come in, but it was not overwhelmingly Democrat like we saw in some of these other communities where those early vote numbers, those vote by mail numbers were hugely favorable to Democrats. In Sangamon County, in Springfield, specifically here in this race, they clearly did a great job bridging that gap on vote by mail. We talk about it election after election, but here's a result of a community, an organization, and a candidate doing better on the Republican side and the conservative side with vote by mail, and as a result, they won. I mean, is this not the proof positive we need that if the Republican Party is going to win, we got to do better on vote by mail?
Absolutely. You don't have to win, or as a Republican, you don't have to win early vote and vote by mail, but you have to be competitive enough that the election day votes are able to get you where you need to be. And that's what Misty did here.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks, Michael, for all the analysis throughout the election. I really appreciate everything you've done.
Absolutely. Thank you.